Alright, so the Boruto hiatus continues for the most part, and one thing that kind of came to mind to me while kind of trying to think of topics to talk about as we continue to wait, or at least move towards Boruto chapter 81 and the potential time skip, is the matter or character of Kashin Koji. Of course, this is a character we've talked about time and time again in the community, and I think it's time to actually talk about him again, but in a different way, as you can tell by the video title. Wagwan everyone, Sasuke Uchiha here. Welcome back to the channel, your friendly neighborhood Uchiha, and we're here to hopefully give you some additional Boruto content in this Boruto / Naruto drought for the most part. At least until the Minato manga comes out this summer. So yeah, of course, leave a like, leave a comment, of course subscribe as well, and hopefully this video is going up before the end of month subscriber stream, so you can join me for that on Wednesday, May 31st. So yeah. But anyway, Kashin Koji. So of course, spoilers for those of you who don't read the Boruto manga, or if you're not caught up, just fair warning. So I like to kind of spark discussion here and play that role, or at least contribute to that role here in the community. And I'm there sitting down and thinking about it, and I'm just like, yo, it has legitimately been almost 3 real world years since we've seen Kashin Koji. Almost 3 real world years since the revelation that Kashin Koji, that confirmed, is a clone of Jiraiya. And that was like what? Way back in chapter 46, 47, probably 48 thereabout. And honestly, we haven't heard a wink or seen anything of this character since then. And honestly, I thought he would have made an appearance in the story, or he would have made a a re-entry or something at this point, honestly speaking. Now, of course, I know the question is when is he coming back and all of that, but no, I'm asking myself, should he come back? And I know that sounds like a weird question for the most part, because obviously a character with that type of weight and magnitude in terms of his true nature, his true identity, of course he should come back, right? And of course, based on how the fight between him and Isshiki Otsutsuki ended, obviously he's not dead. So Kishimoto, even though it was Kodachi writing the story at that point, Kishimoto, quote unquote, who's taking over, obviously would have reviewed those previous chapters. Of course, he was even supervising the writing at that point. You would think he has some grand long-term plan for Kashin Koji, but the fact that it's been 3 years, or just about, almost give or take, and not even a wink word or anything about it, it kind of has me wondering, is the question transforming from when he's coming back to should he come back, for the most part. Now, I know in terms of having this discussion, you'd ask, why would you ask such a question, right? Because he's such a massive character in the grand scheme of things. Now, I'm thinking from this angle, bear with me here. Kashin Koji, if I'm not wrong, the perception I think a lot of persons have of him in potentially returning to the story is training characters, right? And we don't know how the Boruto anime would handle it or improve it, but within the confines of the Boruto manga right now, and for the longest period of time, it's only going to be a certain subset of characters for the most part. Now, I look at it from multiple angles in terms of this should he come back. One of the main reasons I wanted Kashin Koji to come back was the potential emotional conflict between the revelation of his identity and Amado actually going ahead cloning Jiraiya, and how that would emotionally impact Naruto Uzumaki, and see how that would actually affect the dynamic of the story, especially for a character like Naruto, who's kind of been slowly phased out, so Boruto and the new generation can take center stage. I thought it would have been an interesting way to kind of keep some sort of relevance for Naruto in the story as well, some kind of emotional anchor as the story actually went forward, as well as play with the theme of when you're developing, as technology kind of improves and increases at a rapid rates and all that jazz and blues, the question, even from a real world perspective, is that okay, we can do this, as humanity can do this, but should we be doing this? Should we be pushing the envelope that much? Should we be testing the waters, pushing the moral and ethical boundaries, right? They could have really played with that theme when it comes on to Kashin Koji and potential emotional conflict between him, Amado, and Naruto. But the thing is, and this is the first big point, Naruto is no longer in the story right now. He's been sealed away by Kawaki, so we have to X that off. Now, as I was kind of saying earlier, that the next big thing to kind of think about is training. Having Kashin Koji come back to actually, you know, train somebody, right? Because the big thing in me asking the question is, should he come back, is that what would he really come back and do? We can't, it's not the type of story we can just, oh, the clone of Jiraiya, let's push him back in the story for fan service. He has to have some type of arc or overall grander purpose within the story. So the next big thing I'm thinking is, okay, maybe training for the most part. But when I'm thinking about it, based on what we've been shown with the true essence among characters like Boruto and Kawaki, once they kind of get a better hang of it, they can tap into the potential and the knowledge and experience of their respective Otsutsuki. So from a training perspective, I wouldn't really see what would be the purpose of Kashin Koji there. Of course, there are other potential characters, maybe a Sarada, very unlikely, you know, teacher-student dynamic, maybe, or maybe even Sumere, some of the next generation persons, maybe. But I don't know, I'm just not vibing with the idea of like Kashin Koji training any of those characters, if I'm being quite honest. So then the next thing I'm thinking is, if we're not gonna do that either, unless it's going to just tie in with the like an offshoot of the theme I was kind of going for with, you know, conflict between him, Amado, and Naruto, in just kind of tying it back into the overall theme of technology and scientific development within the Boruto era, really and truly. And of course, being a clone, of course Kashin Koji would tie into that, but how do you write an arc for him that can build a dynamic between himself and other characters going forward? Like, you know, that's the big question, really and truly. Because of course, I would imagine you could write something of an arc for him along the lines of, you know, finding his sense of self, his identity in the world despite being a clone of Jiraiya. But I don't know, it's hard to say, and especially since one of his major goals was to take out Isshiki Otsutsuki, and that's not there anymore either. So again, it starts to come down to the question of, for me personally at least, no longer when is he coming back, but should he come back? I mean, to be honest, this is just as per usual for sparking discussion with you guys. I do want him to come back, but it has to be handled like a certain way, you know? It has to make sense and tie into the grander, you know, scene, the bigger picture, so to speak. And thinking about it now, even with chapter 81, they could even return, well, are coming to chapter 81 with a big Kashin Koji reveal or something tied into him, maybe, just maybe. But I think the story still has to progress just a bit more before it could potentially include Kashin Koji again. Even though, again, it's been 3 real world years since, well, give or take, since we've seen this man. So, yeah. But I guess it could depend on our time to how they handle Boruto and Sasuke traveling around. Maybe Koji could be one of the persons they bump into. Maybe, just maybe, I don't know. But let me know what you guys think. I know, really and true, as I said, it's not even should, but this is just for discussion's sake. I know most persons would want him back in the story, and more or less would have faith in Kishimoto having some kind of long, or not necessarily long, but some kind of story arc prepared for him that will tie into Boruto, Kawaki, Himawari, or some other character we care about current journey right now. So yeah, anyway, let me know what you guys think. You know, I just thought of this and I just, hey, I'm just turning the camera, I'm gonna just start recording, let's just have a conversation with you guys, or a discussion for the most part. So yeah, anyway, let me know what you guys think. Of course, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Boruto video.